Good afternoon, good evening. It's dinner time. Work is over and it's cold in Texas. And today we're having soup. Well, today I'm having soup because this is something my husband probably will not eat. So today on my menu is Zuppa Toscana. I love this soup. It's very filling. It's not overly rich, but it is filling. So I'm going to have that this evening for dinner, as long as it's cold. And the thing about it, you can also, store this. You can freeze it, take it out when you want some soup, and pop it in a bowl, put it on the stove, or pop it in the microwave, and boom, you got a meal. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fry up a couple of strips of bacon. I have my heat going, so I'm going to use maybe like 5 strips of bacon. What I like to do is I like to cut these up. That way, when they get ready, when they're cooked, I can just pretty much use it then. I don't really have to focus too much on crumbling it. So I got my skillet hot. You can hear it sizzling. That's right, sizzling. You know, now that I said that, there used to be some bacon or something called sizzling. Do you guys remember that? I know I didn't just make that up. I remember that. But anyway, I'm cooking up my bacon. This soup is so easy to make, and it's also good. This is the one that they have at the Olive Garden. That's really good. That's my favorite one that I get. I like the pasta the pasta fagioli, but I'm just not in a bean mood today. So dicing this up, getting this all fried up, and then once I get this fried up, and you'll see how fast this just comes together. It calls for an onion, so I haven't diced my onion yet. I normally like to try to get everything prepped when I'm cooking, and especially if I'm going to record it, because it just seems like it makes it flow so much better. So once this is cooked, I'm going to put it on a little plate, drain it, and I'm not going to throw the bacon fat away. I'm going to saute my onions and my garlic in there, and then I'm going to put it in a pot, and then I'm going to build my soup. I bought the kale. I bought the kale that's in the bag, the kind that's already chopped, so that helps out a lot. Anything that you can buy that'll save time when you're cooking, by all means, do it. Do what will give you additional time. I mean, we all work real jobs. Well, most of us do. I work every day, at the end of the day, you want something that's wholesome and healthy, but you also want something that that's not going to take forever to cook. So I bought the kale that's already pre-chopped. I rinsed it, and I have it in a strainer draining. I use my mandolin to slice my potatoes, and I'll show you those once I get to that part of this recipe, because you want these to be pretty thin. And I'm just going to dice my onion so that when I finish with this, I can just put my onion and garlic in here and saute it and take it from there. So let's get this bacon all crisped up, and then we'll come back and we'll start putting stuff together. All right, so this bacon is crispy. enough. So I'm going to take it out. So with my bacon drippings, I have a whole white onion, that I am adding. And I'm just going to saute these for a little while. I'm going to put like a teaspoon of garlic. And the next thing I'm going to do is once I get this softened, and you don't want to brown these really, you just want to kind of cook them until everything is translucent. Scoop this up a little bit. All right there. The next thing I'm going to do is I have a pound of Italian sausage. Now, you can use, I have the spicy Italian sausage because I like a little heat to it. Plus, the one at the Olive Garden, they put red pepper flakes, not bell pepper flakes, but red pepper flakes in theirs. So if you use the spicy Italian sausage, you actually don't have to put the pepper flakes in there unless you want it. So this recipe is for a whole onion, whole white onion or yellow onion. Just saute it. Maybe a teaspoon of garlic, minced garlic. The bacon is for you to put on after the soup is done. You can use I will use 2 large russet potatoes. I use a mandolin and I leave the skin on my potatoes. I use maybe like 2 to 3 cups of kale because I love kale. I use chicken broth and I use I like the better than bouillon to add some depth to it. So as you can see, these are translucent, so I'm going to go ahead and just put them in my pot. This is my soup pot. That's where the magic is going to happen. So let me get that skillet hot. And then I'm going to add, I'm only using a pound of Italian sausage, and I thought this was the spicy, but this isn't. This is the sweet. So I'm going to add red pepper flakes to mine. Get this browned up. And you know, you can do all this in one pot if you want. I just decided today I wanted an extra dish to wash. So I decided to use more than one pot. But you get this browned up. And then we're going to get this soup to golden. So my Italian sausage is cooking. And just make sure that you break it up. You want it to be crumbled. So these are my crushed red pepper flakes. I'm going to go ahead and add some of these. And I don't measure these. I mean, you can measure them based on your tolerance for heat. I just don't think that these red pepper flakes, these crushed pepper flakes are all that hot. But if you're feeding a soup to small children, you might not want to put it in there. We don't want to hurt the baby. Y'all, I promised myself this year I would do so much better. I would do more videos, and that's what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to post more videos, create more content, reach more people, and just share what I like doing. When I first started just putting out little small videos, I have had a really, really close friend. She's a friend of mine for more than 35 years that was always out there watching my videos, even if I would do a live one. Sometimes it would just be her out there watching that live video. And I lost that friend. She passed away, and we buried her last week. And man, I'm going to miss her. But that was one of the reasons why I decided that I would try to reach more people and, do what I like doing, my passion, because she always told me, she always encouraged me to open a restaurant. And I always told her, I just don't have time to open a restaurant. I mean, I work every day. I mean, I'm remote, but that doesn't mean that I don't work. I work for a major hospital in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and I work in HR, so I'm busy. I mean, there's always something going on. So I just, I promised myself that, BJ always wanted me to open a restaurant. She's like, you open a restaurant, I'll be your customer every day. And, that was so sweet. But like I said, I've known her for more than 35 years. And she's just one of the kindest people that I've ever met. God bless her soul. I'm really going to miss her. So, I mean, if you like the food that I'm preparing, please comment on my videos. Please share my videos with, other people that you may know. I'm trying to do recipes that are not hard. I like recipes where you can set it and forget it. Put it in the oven, let it cook, or something that's not going to take long. I love baking. That's one of my favorite things. I love baking. So I will include some baking videos in my repertoire of videos. Alright, you see, this is pretty much cooked and crumbled. And that's all I'll say is just crumble it up as you do it, and just make sure that it's done. Like I said, you could have done it all in one pot and made, where you wouldn't have to mess up a whole bunch of dishes. But for some reason or another today, I guess I decided that I just wanted to wash more dishes. That's a joke. That's really not true. But alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add this to my pot. So I'm going to turn this burner down low so I can get this in, and you'll see how fast this soup actually comes to fruition. That Italian sausage did not have very much grease in it at all. If it does, when you're cooking it, I would suggest draining it because you don't want your soup to be loaded with grease. Alright, so the next thing I'm about to do is I have some chicken stock. And this is chicken broth. I have some Better Than bouillon chicken flavor. Man, I love this stuff. This stuff is expensive as heck, but I love it. I'm telling you, when I go to the store, I find myself buying like 3 or 4 of these jars, and they're like $5, almost $6 a jar, but they're worth it. One thing I will tell you, this stuff has a lot of salt, so don't go crazy with the salt when you're using this until you actually, taste your food and determine, whether or not you need to add salt, especially if you're using this Better Than bouillon. So I'm gonna go ahead and, like I said, I haven't measured this, but this broth, this is about, this is 3 pounds, so this is 48 ounces of broth. And I'm going to start out with like use 3/4 of that for now. Alright, turn my burner up, and I'm going to bring this to a boil. When I bring this to a boil, then I'm going to add like 2 teaspoons of the Better Than bouillon. So let's get this boiling, and we'll get this rolling. I do believe that I'm going to use probably this whole container of broth because I have kale, and I also have there's also a cup of heavy cream that goes into this as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my Better Than bouillon open. I'm telling y'all, I love this stuff. This is one of the best things that they invented to keep you from having to take all day and make a stock. This actually, this takes the place of that. I mean, it definitely helps out. So, all right, so I have my soup coming to a boil. I'm going to taste my broth just to see if I need to add a little salt to it. Like I told you guys, this Better Than bouillon has plenty of salt in it. And just as I said, I don't need to add any salt, but I'm going to add the remainder of this. Well, still got a little bit more of that. So the next thing I'm going to do is add my potatoes. Now, like I said, I used russet potatoes, and I cut them really thin. I use my mandolin, so you can see these are really thin. And I use like 4 small potatoes, but if you have, I would probably use 2 bigger ones. So I'm gonna put the potatoes in here and let them go ahead and start to cook and soften because they take a lot less time than the kale. This soup is so good. I hope this pot ain't too small. I told my sister I was making this soup, and I owe my friend Bridget some soup because I promised her I was going to make her some, and I am going to make it. It's just that she and I don't see each other regularly. So, get my burner up. When you dice these, when you use your mandolin on your potatoes, I keep mine in water because potatoes will oxidize and turn brown. And I don't want to have brown looking potatoes in my soup. Man, I can't wait for this to get done. And every time I get done, it's really don't have to get done, but to finish cooking. So I got these in here. And I'm going to let those come to a little boil, and I'm going to put a top on those. That's my kale. So I'm going to let these potatoes come to a boil. And once they come to a boil, I'm going to put in my kale. And then, oh, that's the wrong top. Once they're soft, I'm going to let them come to a boil for maybe like 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'm going to add my kale. Because like I said, it doesn't take these very long. And then the last thing that you put in here in the soup is your heavy cream. All right, so the potatoes are boiling. Like I said, they're so thin, it won't take very long. So I'm going to start adding my kale. And kale is just like spinach and greens. It seemed like a lot, but it's gonna cook down. And this is probably like, I would say 1.5 cups, 2 cups of kale. So the thing about it, when you use that bag kale, they have these big old stalks on some of them. That's the simple way out, but So now, the final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this creamy. I'm going to add my heavy cream. So this is 16 ounces. I'm only going to use a cup. So I'm only going to use half of this. And that's about half. I'm going to season this with a little pepper. And a couple of more little crushed red pepper flakes. Put the top on here and let this simmer for about 10 minutes. Turn my heat down to medium low. So the soup is almost there. See that? That looks so good. So now I'm going to sprinkle this bacon in here. So we're almost ready to serve this. I got some Parmigiano Reggiano that I'm going to actually grate over each bowl. My husband actually says he's going to try some. Just want to make sure that the potatoes are ready. And I will tell you, as a cook, always taste your food. Taste your food. That is good. But I'm going to add a little bit more salt. Oh, by the way, I did use that full container of chicken broth, which was 3 pounds, 48 ounces. So the potatoes are ready. The kale. So I'm going to get some bowls and scoop this up. And then I'll show you what we're working with. How about that? All right, so I just scooped out a bowl of the soup. Let you see what it looks like. See if I can move this a little bit closer. Give you a close up. Man, it smells so good. So I'm going to shave a little of this Parmigiano Reggiano on the top. And dinner is served. So this is dinner tonight. Please feel free to make this recipe. It's very simple, very easy, and it's really delicious. So until next time, boys and girls, be blessed.